just record. Okay, let's just experiment. Okay, so, and if you guys don't know what I meant by the recording thing, don't worry about it. So this is my little reminder for recording. So today we're going to start with any questions you may have on the Khan Academy videos and/or exercises, as I have here. So if you have any questions on the Khan Academy video or the Khan Academy and/or the Khan Academy exercises, we can go ahead and address some of those. And the second piece is I'm going to give you all some practice problems, extra practice problems that are going to feel similar to Khan Academy and also that are going to be different from Khan Academy, because I can give you even better ones than they give you. Okay? So I guess we can start with the first part here. Do you have any questions on the Khan Academy video, like anything you want me to clear up? I'm going to be addressing some of those as well. But if you have any like standout questions, I can answer those. Stuff that you thought was confusing. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So, can everyone hear me okay? Perfect. All right, you all. So, great. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin right away. We have quite a bit to cover, and if we end a little bit early, that's great. I also like to encourage everybody, when possible, to not when possible, to always, because it's almost always going to be possible to come on time to class, so that we can get started really early. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to, as usual, choose moderators. And I want to go ahead and stress how important it is to have moderators, and moderators that are important, that are taking the job seriously. Iris, you can be moderator 1, and Max, you can be moderator 2. Okay, we're off to a great start. So I think that's good. Let's go ahead and get right to it. I'm gonna switch over to my iPad. It always means I have to get out of this interface for a couple of seconds, and I'll be right back. Also, make sure to have your notebook with you in case we talk about a few terms here and there, and also for working out new problems that I will definitely introduce to you all. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, Kieran, what's your suggestion? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to do that, but some people do come into this, so I'm trying to be inclusive with this, Kieran. And so some people do come with some standout questions, and some people, and I was one of those students sometimes where after the teacher starts to give problems, then I start to think of the questions. So I'm just trying to address both sides. I've had students like I remember Piper at some point, and other kids, like a bunch of other kids, or like maybe Jules would be like, "Oh, I had a question about this thing," and so I might answer it real quick. Okay, so that's what I do, but I appreciate all your suggestions. Okay, so if you guys don't have any questions right now, I can get started right away. Does that sound like it might be a yes? And if it is, you can write a Y. Uh-huh. Okay, Jules, I'm gonna let you ask. Okay, I'm gonna let Jules ask a question, but Jules, I don't want you to make it too long. Okay, just straight to the point. All right, so I'm not gonna make a discussion out of this. Kieran, 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 if you go ahead and interrupt me again, I'm gonna have to go ahead and have you step out, get out, leave the class right now. Okay. So I'm the teacher, and if I'm not gonna go ahead and have this be a forum for discussion. So I'm going to answer that. I already answered that question, but I'm going to go ahead and say it one more time. And the reason is that some kids come into class with questions in the top of their mind, and then some students think of the questions later. So I'm addressing both of those concerns. Okay, so if I can get going, anybody have any actual questions before I begin problem solving or giving you guys some material? Okay, let's get to it. So, okay, Piper, what is it? Okay, so I would like for you to come into class having watched the video first for future reference. Okay, so one of the first things you should be doing when you get up in the morning is checking Google Classroom, doing your advisory flag or just your advisory prompt, and then going and looking at your schedule. And if you have like a live class scheduled, you want to make sure that you see what's on Google Classroom for that live class, in this case, math. Either way, this is going to help you. Okay. Does Emma have something to say before we begin? Okay, Emma, what is it? Okay, I understand. So that's why I also make it so that it's not too hard to get into. But if you do have time, I would appreciate, because you guys, like, you should be checking your advisory prompts at 8 o'clock a.m., right? That they're already posted by that time. So you have about 45 minutes to. Oh, okay. Okay, understood. So everybody, it's always if it you can, okay? And I understand that sometimes the situations are what they are. Let's go ahead and get started right away. I want to get into it. I'm very excited about this class. Okay, is there something else? Okay, let's hold our comments to the end, everybody, so that I can actually teach. Okay. Now, you guys, I want to get into this, and we don't have a lot of time. Moderators, one more thing. Let me know when there's 3 minutes before the class ends, which is going to be, oh, I forget when it is. Does anybody know when that happens? 9:12 or something like that? Okay. So let me know around that time. All right. So this is okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say that let's go ahead and pause any interruptions right now because I want to make sure that you guys get this really well from the beginning, and this is really exciting. We're starting technically material for pre-algebra. This is going to be the very ground foundation for what you do in pre-algebra. And so the first thing I want you guys to understand is what an integer is. Okay. So an integer, and this you want to write down in your math notebook. I'm not going to give you a lot of notes because you already should take them for the video that was posted on Google Classroom, but this is important, okay? An integer in math is either a whole number, 0, the number 0, or the negative opposite, which is the opposite, okay, of the whole numbers. Okay, so I wonder if you guys can go ahead and type in integers, and I want to see an example of the 3 different categories that I just finished naming. So what are some possibilities for integers? You can type it into the comments. Moderators, what do we have? Yeah, so these are examples right here. This right here, the first one, is a positive integer. We also call that a positive integer. Okay, we also call that just a whole number. Now 0 technically is considered a whole number too, but it's also just 0, which means it's not positive or negative. 0 is not positive or negative, it's just 0. Okay, it's neutral. And here we have our friend the negative, the negative integer. And it could be -3, it could be -12, it could be -1000. All of these are possibilities. And these are the 3 categories, everybody, that makes up an integer. Now, what's not an integer? I think that's a really important question to ask as well. Okay, so that's correct. So 3.5 is a decimal. Or you can even say 3 and 1/2, which is the same thing as 3.5. These are fractions or decimals. These are pieces. In this case, actually, it's a mixed number, right? Or a decimal or a mixed number. But these are pieces. Integers cannot be parts. They have to be wholes. Whether they are a negative whole, whether they're a 0 whole, or whether they're a positive whole. The word integer, important, comes from and is related to, one second, integral. Integral is another way of saying whole. Okay, so that just gives you a tip right there. Question. Okay, Jules, what is it? Zero is an integer. So the 3 types of integers are the positive integer or whole numbers, 0, and also the negative integers. All those are integers. Good question. Negative or positive, you're right. It's still included as an integer because it's not like a part or anything like that, even though it represents. Let's go back. No. I switched screens. Yeah. So it's I have to move forward, Jules. But 0, negative numbers, and whole and positive whole numbers are all integers. Correct. So, right. So it's 0 also is included in there as well, even though it's not. Yeah. So for example 2, here's what I'm going to say. I'd like to talk about ordering of negative numbers. And this is for also people that maybe like Piper and others didn't get to do the exercises yet. I'm going to go ahead and talk about a number line real quick. What you see here, okay, so what you see here is a number line. And I'm going to go ahead and add numbers to this number line. Now, the first thing you have here is a 0. Now, to the right of that 0, we have what kind of integers do we have? What kind of integers do we have to the right of that? Yeah. Yeah, the whole numbers are on the right. I'm just writing this real quick, direct. Okay, so you have 1, you have 2, 3, 4. Now notice that they're all whole numbers, and notice that they're also positive. To the left of the 0, everybody, we have the negative integers. -3, -4. Notice how the negativity increases the more to the left that you go. That also makes them less in value. So what I mean by that is that -4 is less in value than -1 is. -1 is actually bigger than -4. Okay, so the more to the right that you go, the higher the value. Notice that +4 is the biggest from the numbers that are, from the integers that are displayed here. Okay, that's a really important point. So if I ask you all, order the following from least to greatest in value. Okay, in the following you have -2, 0, 5, -5, 4, and 1. In your math notebook, very quickly, go ahead and see if you can number from least. Notice I said least first, okay? To greatest. Go. So, I'm going to do it really slow. The lowest number that you have there in the directions, right, in this example, that I can see is -5. It's the most negative and therefore the lowest one. Okay, so we're done with that one. The next one is going to be -2. Okay, so hopefully you got that, and if you're still working on it, try and see if you can get to the end faster than me. The next one after that, everybody, is going to be 0. Then we have 1. Then we have 4, +4, by the way. And then we have +5. You guys, by the way, if you want to write like a plus in front of these to show +1, +4, and +5, you can. I don't do it because I'm very efficient, right? Because that's more writing and it means the same thing. Did everybody more or less get that part? And if you did, just write a Y in the comments for us. Moderators, what are we seeing? Are we seeing Ys? Like they're getting this piece? Okay. Charlie, do you want to go ahead and say? Okay, do you guys have questions that you want to go ahead and ask me before we move forward about this part? Charlie or Max? And you can go ahead and you can speak. You can unmute yourself. Okay, so do you see how I said from least in value to greatest? So you're starting from the least or the smallest or the most negative to the biggest. Correct. Good. Does that make sense? And that's going to be explained in your assignment today. So I'm just kind of doing like a light touch here. Let me see something. Example 2. Yeah, we're going to number line. Oops. Okay. Now I'm getting to the good stuff. This is the stuff that makes me that's fun for me. Okay. So guys, now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do something a little new with you. This is not talked about in the videos from today. but it's easy enough to understand, and I'm going to just get you all warmed up on this. This is a problem you've seen ever since you were little, really little. Okay, that's 2 plus 3. What I want you to understand about this problem is that when you saw it, you didn't see the whole big picture. What you're seeing with example number 3 is not just 2 plus 3, is you're seeing, here we go, positive 2 plus 3. You don't see that positive 2 because teachers think that it's too confusing when you're too young. And what you're also noticing here, everybody, is that the two signs, because that positive belongs to, this is important, belongs to the 2. The positive that's here, you know it as a plus. It's actually also, and even more so, a positive. And it belongs to the 3. Notice that the positive 2 and the positive 3 make these two numbers have the same sign. So here's your first rule right up here. Rule number 1. When you're adding and subtracting integers, when the signs are the same, you always, no matter what, add. So that's why positive 2 plus, or positive 2 plus 3 or positive 2 plus positive 3 is going to equal, we know what it's going to equal, 5. Now you can say positive 5 or you can just say 5. Okay, taking that into consideration, when the signs are the same you add, what do you suppose the answer is here? Negative 4 minus 7. Go ahead and write it in the comments. Okay, what do we have? Moderators, what do we have for the comments? The reason that you have negative 11, and that's the right answer, is because the signs are the same. Same sign. They're both negative. You can read that as negative 4, negative 7. It's better if you're in math, like your math teacher's going to look at you weird if you say that. They're going to prefer negative 4 minus 7, but it's the same thing. So you keep the sign, you guys. Keep the sign when the signs are the same, and you add the two numbers, and 7 plus 4 is 11. Okay, have a challenge. Rule number 2. When the signs are different, you subtract. Okay, now you know there's no sign here next to the 2, but there is a sign. When you don't see a sign, it's going to be, okay. Whoever made that sound, please mute yourself. I would appreciate that. And if it's made again, I'm going to have to take you out of the room. Thank you. Okay, so when you don't see a sign, you guys, it's actually positive. And so you see how the signs here are different. So you're going to subtract or get the difference of 3 and 2. Now don't worry about which number is in front. The difference of 3 and 2 is going to be 1. Okay, I'm sorry, what was that? Moderators, can you please tell me if the comments are, do they have any spam? Because I'm getting mixed messages here. Okay. Okay, we're not commenting on things like that, you guys. If you can't, I'm gonna give you guys one last warning. If you can't focus on the material, I'm just gonna have to take you out of class, and I'll just have to write an email directly to you and to your parents. Okay. So if you can't be serious, you can't be in my class. And trust me, it's going to penalize you because you're going to get behind. And that's the last warning I'm going to give for today. All I want you guys to do is respond with the comments with what you need to respond. And that's it. I don't have any further requirements for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep moving because I'm only hearing sounds and I get distracted when I hear people that I shouldn't be hearing. So the signs are different, so we subtract, we get the difference. Now, the sign that the number that is the answer gets is the sign of the larger number. What would normally be the larger number here, everybody? Okay? So think about it. If you didn't have to think about the signs, what would be larger, a 2 or a 3? Without the signs, right? A 3 would be larger. So notice that the 3 has a negative next to it. So the number answer here is going to have a negative. It's going to be a -1. Okay? So having said that, can you solve for example 6, which is -6 plus 8? Try and see if you can get this one right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So in order to save a little bit of time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to boost you with this. If you know what the answer is, you can type it into the comments. But notice that the signs are different. And I want you guys to stick with me until the end of this class, okay? Until I say that we're going to end. The signs are different, so you're going to get the difference. You're going to subtract. 8 minus 6 is going to be 2. And the sign, everybody, because 8 is normally bigger than a 6, we're going to put the 8's sign, which is positive, as the answer. Okay? Do you see how like 8, so 8 is normally bigger than a 6. Don't worry about the signs that they have. And because 8 is normally bigger than a 6, you look at its sign, and because it's a positive, that's why the answer gets a positive. Does that make sense, Max? Okay. If you all would like to just get started on your classwork, you can go now. Thank you for moderating. Okay. Goodbye, you guys. What's that? Yeah. Yeah, watch the video. That was really, because that has pieces that I haven't talked about yet. Okay, you're welcome. Bye, you guys. Have a good one. Okay, is anyone still left? Let me see what I have here. Okay, so I have a couple more examples. If you want to go ahead and stick around, technically the class is ending. If you all want to stick around for example number 7 and example number 8, you